You can see these points where there's been communication or puncta before. So we're gonna have to try and freeze this. Now again, when it's inflamed and infected like this, the freezing doesn't take as well, so we're gonna be spraying some topical on. And then we're gonna try to inject some just underneath the surface so that when we incise, at least that part is actually frozen. So this is Gabauer's here, which I actually like using. It's a good product. This will be a bit cold. You okay?
Yep.
So where this is somewhat helpful, if you're just doing a very, very superficial procedure, it can be beneficial. The problem here is, as soon as we have to actually incise, this will essentially just take away a little bit of discomfort when you're incising. But when you're going to that level, you really have to add local anesthetic as well. So what we want to be doing here, we want the bevel to be just under the skin. You're gonna feel a poke here. Still relevant, so my point being is you want to be trying to get those two. So you can see here how that's weeping on the sides. So that means we've gone into the capsule just a little bit. So I'm gonna try to do a little bit deeper. So you'll probably see on the sides when I do that. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not too bad actually. There, you can see that's draining a bit. So do that after the fact, just try and see if we can get some of the area upon which we're going to be incising. So obviously here, this is a case where you could not take out this capsule. We're going to be sort of draining this so it has a chance to heal, and then afterwards, now if you try to take this capsule out, you would have, one, it'd just be impossible, but you would create such a huge divot and scarring area, it just would be a terrible decision to be making. So this is our number 11 blade. So the other thing I'd tell you too is, sometimes residents and people watching this stuff will comment that when you have lots of drains like this, you get a basin instead. The problem you get with basins is there's not always a specific draining plane. So this can go all over the place, and it's hard to use that in theory. So this is why you end up having to use a lot of 4x4s. So this is our number 11 blade. You okay?
Yep.
So obviously that's just all pus, that's all dead cells. Step out a bit. So you want to find a balance between not having too big an incision, because we're always worried about cosmetic results, even in cases like this, but big enough that the coefficient of friction of the actual pus isn't impeding the opening. Maybe I have to extend that sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Farther, sorry. Yeah, I can feel there's a lot of pressure there. Just a little bit. You're still okay?
Yep.
Because I can feel there's back pressure here. So this is our curette. You okay there?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of material in here. I'm just trying to see if I can bring it out slowly enough. You okay?
Yep.
This is where, again, clearly this is not an abscess. This is clearly an infected cyst, so this is all keratin. Sorry.
Okay.
Capsule there.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a really large pocket.
That was massive.
Yeah. So this is definitely going to be one where you talk about, sorry, you okay there?
Yep.
Should we put in ribbon gauze or packing? So the two reasons being, are you tolerating that okay?
Yeah.
Pretty good with the anesthesia. I would have thought it was worse, to be honest.
That's not great, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, she's of the tough stock for sure. So getting back to it, we put packing in for two reasons. One, to achieve hemostasis, but the other one is, you can see there's still residual material here. I'm gonna go after a little bit of this, but when you don't have great freezing, and remember, we can't get the whole capsule out regardless of what we're doing, but we want to give that the chance overnight that can actually collapse further actually into the actual space. The other thing I'm going to do too is, do you have some saline?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to irrigate this. So sometimes the irrigation will break this up as well, just like that. And you'll have parts that come out that we can't get out in other fashions, but with irrigation it'll break it up a little bit. Now these are actually sterile, not that that matters at all. This whole field's obviously compromised. So what we're working under here is what we call a clean environment, not at all a sterile one. And if you're a frontline physician or nurse practitioner doing these procedures, if you read up on that, you can do lots of different procedures just in a clean environment, and actually infection rates aren't any higher. Again, it doesn't pertain to this at all because this is a different animal altogether. You okay there? So this is all membrane. It's very friable still. You okay there?
Yeah.
And that's the limitation there. So again, because we don't have good freezing, I want to find a balance where we're taking out as much as we can. So when it does sort of reconstitute itself, it's a smaller cyst to remove. But we have to be sensitive to the fact that if we don't have good freezing, anesthetic, that we don't want to cause undue harm either. So it looks not too bad.